So now let's go to property number 2. This was Hawthorne. We both love this property, right? It was gorgeous, right? So it was listed when we got there. It was listed at $1,875,000, but on 3/16 it was removed, right? So the seller decided to take it off of the market. So now it's off market. But it was a gorgeous property, right? I mean, it showed incredibly well. We walked through.
The backyard was awesome on that.
Oh my God. The backyard was awesome. The inside was awesome. It was just like wood paneling everywhere. And then it just got better and better. Like the kitchen was amazing.
Yes.
The living room and the upstairs for the kids was, I mean, I wish I grew up in a home like that. Like it was really, really incredible.
Even the walk up, the front yard was just gorgeous too. I mean,
everything. Like it had curb appeal.
The curb appeal is great.
Everything. Yeah, and it was in that neighborhood. What's that neighborhood?
You would ask me.
What it was called?
No, I've sold in that neighborhood, and so it's darn.
That's okay, but it was a cool neighborhood, and it was. There wasn't a gate, so it was kind of semi.
No, not gated. But remember the drive up? It had these pine tree. The magnolia trees, right?
Right.
The magnolia trees all in a line. And so, yeah, that was, that neighborhood is really nice. It's small. Mm-hmm. It's just a one big circle street.
Layton Grove.
Yeah, Layton Grove. Yeah. So Layton Grove, all custom homes in there, all about third of an acre to some on the corners have a little bit bigger. I don't think there's anything in there. It's probably anywhere from a third to 0.4 of an acre. There might be a couple of half acres in there, but pretty much they're all very similar sized and all custom build jobs in there. That home was gorgeous. They had done a lot of work on it. You know, one of the things I talked to the listing agent on that home that she told me that they were trying to relocate, and they had a home that they had their eye on that was bigger. It could be that home that they had their eye on went off the market or got sold.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't get their home sold quick enough to go buy the next one. And so they may have said, well, since that one's not available anymore, we're going to remove ours.
Yeah, that could be the case. But what is great, since it's off market, there's a good chance that someone's going to see this video and will say, I want that home. And they can just go right to you where you can represent them, and you already know the listing agent, you have that relationship, and now you can make a deal, right? If they want to sell it.
Just because it's not listed doesn't mean that they wouldn't necessarily, that they wouldn't take an offer, right?
Yeah. That home had everything. It had the pool, so all the stuff we talked about with home one, this one had everything, right? So it had the pool, it had the large floor plan, it had the amazing front yard and curb appeal. It literally had everything in that particular home. So I think it would command a strong price.
Yeah, no, I think that with the updates that they had done, the backyard that they had put in, because I think they put that in fairly recently, if I recall, because the owner was there when we were talking to him, and he discussed the pool with us, and I think it was fairly new. So they put in a good chunk of change. Now remember, as I said, home prices of pools are pretty expensive.
Yeah,
and COVID did that. Because when people were told that they have to lock down and stay home, and they're, nobody's traveling, and so people said, well, if we're not going to go on vacation, I'll just take that money and invest it in my backyard. And so all of a sudden you got all these people ordering pools. Mm-hmm. And so the pool company's like, holy smokes, what's happening? Right. We need to raise our prices. And so they started raising their prices, and here we are. To get a pool today, the rule of thumb has always been 10%. So the 10% of the value of your home is what you're more than likely going to have to invest. Now, it may not be all in the pool.
Right.
because to build a pool at $200,000 or $180,000, that's a big pool. But it may be that you put in an outdoor kitchen and an outdoor living area, right? Do a, almost a pool house or something like that. Now, that may be a little bit more than what 10% would apply to, but I think you could get a pool, you could get an outdoor kitchen. And in a home like that, those are things that really kind of accentuate and complement the property. And that, quite honestly, would be somewhat of an expectation on a home at that price point, is it's going to have those things.
Right.
Just like the first home that didn't have a pool at that price, people are now using that as a comparison. And what can I get with the pool? So the same thing on this house is, at that price point, it's got to have certain things to compare to what other homes are in the market.
And, something I'm thinking of is, okay, so if I've got a buyer and, for this type of home, it's a jumbo loan, and the minimum most likely is going to be at 20%, right? Some lenders, they've got the 10% down and 15% down, and even a 5% down. But at a 1.8 million, you're looking at about 20% down. Plus, you have to have about 6 months of reserves, which just means that when you calculate your mortgage payment, so the principal and interest, plus the taxes, plus the insurance, we take that number and then we multiply that by 6, right? So you have to have that much in reserve. So let's just say it's $10,000. You have to have $60,000 in reserves. So you have to have $60,000 in reserves, plus you have to put the 20% down. So now you're talking about, a pretty good chunk of change. But the other factor is, what if that home doesn't have comps in the area? And you only have 20% and the 6 months of reserves. So for the listing agent, it would be tough if every home in the market is, if you have the coolest home and the best home in that particular area, and everyone else is at a lower level, smaller, what have you, then that's going to be tough to comp out. So it may help to, if you could show proof of funds for maybe, 40% down or 30% down or something, so you've got some buffer.
Right. Yeah. If you're the coolest house in the neighborhood, it's, what they say is, don't ever buy the biggest house in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because it's hard, because all the other ones bring you down. So if you have no comps to help support you and you're the big dog in the neighborhood, that's tough. And
everyone's fighting for you to close.
Yeah, they want to use that number.
They want to use your number. So they're throwing you a big party once you close that house.
Exactly. Yeah. So if anyone's out there interested in this property, give me a call. I'll be glad to get us in there if they're still interested in selling them. That's the big thing, right?
Yep.